Welcome in to Season 2, Episode 1 of God Bless Fantasy Football. My name is Brandon Tiedemann. Next to me, joining me this season, Andrew Rogers. Andrew, how are you?
Let's clap it out, right?
Clap it out.
Fantasy football back in session. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm excited. My first little podcast here.
You missed my official title, though. I mean, this is Platinum Fantasy Football Player Andrew Rogers. Rating 858 according to Yahoo. Watch out. I don't think that's very good, to be quite honest.
What's your win percentage, though? Like 60?
Roughly 59.9%.
I mean,
217 and 145. I don't know if that's a very strong winning percentage. I think that could get me fired. As a manager in real life, I don't think 60% is what you want. But it could be. I mean, it depends on how long you've been managing,
playing,
right? So it's been since 2013. 60%. I mean, if I get close to having a win gap of 100, which I'm close to right now, I mean, that's pretty good. Maybe I keep my job for a couple more seasons. Who knows? My team may fire me, though, after some of my drafts this year.
Nah, our draft wasn't that bad this year.
Oh, no, our draft today wasn't great. I think we're planning on finishing 9th out of 12.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what? Like everybody, I want everyone to know out there, when you come to play, the team that's supposed to finish 9th, don't go home crying. Don't go home crying on Sunday. I'm telling you that, Cam. I know you're supposed to finish 2nd, and the people can't see you right now.
I'm here, though. I'm in now. I'm there. I'm here. And
when you play,
number 2.
What's our team name now?
God Bless Fantasy Football.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
What an original name you have.
Well, we were team. Is it Tiedemann?
Tiedemann.
Tiedemann? Yeah, I was close. It was that earlier today.
Whatever your name is.
All right. Well, let's do this thing, man.
Yeah. Okay. So
Let's get into it, because I know everybody out there's been itching to get their fantasy advice. Plus, the season is so close. I mean, we're right in the midst of college football now, which means NFL season is 2 weeks to follow. It's crazy that football's here.
We're right there. We're right there. We're almost there.
What's
almost
crazier?
done preseason.
What's crazier? Knowing that football is this close, or knowing that I've done 4 drafts already and 12 mock drafts?
Definitely 12 mock drafts.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
And we did 12. You did 12 mock drafts, and that's what we drafted today.
Well, I didn't do them in 12-team leagues. I did them in 10. My teams were awesome when we did 10 league. A 10-team league, put me in. Gosh darn it. That team, let's read the team. Go to our fantasy page and read the people our team. Because I was on cloud 9 after we drafted Travis Etienne. He got passed over. We got him in the 3rd round, and I'm like, yes, Etienne is on our team. And then it all went downhill. My parachute didn't pull when Justin Fields got taken right before us. And I'm like, here it comes. It's every year. Somebody's in front of you that you just know is going to screw you.
And that was Drake and Jacob today.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
So our quarterback is Dak Prescott. Let's start there. That's our start. Travis Etienne.
Yep,
Not
there
bad.
he is. There he is.
James
It's a great
Conner.
pick. It's PPR, by the way.
Yeah, James Conner.
And James Conner's a beast pick, because when his quarterback is out, he's like a top 5 runner in regards to production. That's a really nice pick if he can stay healthy.
I don't think Joshua Dobbs is going to be throwing the ball that much. That's who's starting for the Cardinals.
Oh, is it? Yeah, that's great. So they're going to be packing the box. Maybe James Conner isn't a play. Have you looked at that depth chart? Marquise Brown is their top wideout. Then they have Rondale Moore. Zach Ertz is still playing football. I know people find that hard to believe. He's going undrafted in a lot of formats. That team is not put together very well ever since losing DeAndre Hopkins and whatever's going on with Kyler Murray.
They're tanking. I'll bring that up later, though.
Okay. Bro, yeah, we'll hold information, because I think I have a scenario that I think is being played out right now in regards with the Cardinals, but we're going to hold it.
Okay. Then we have Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, baby.
We were happy about that. That was like...
Yeah, we
we're
passed
we're
on
gonna win.
Nick Chubb, though, which was kind of like an but CeeDee could be, he easily could be the top receiving option in fantasy this year. He could compete with JJ.
I mean, that'd be nice, because then we have him...
And that means
Dak
Dak has a great
Prescott.
year.
There we go. Evan Ingram's our tight end. That's still questionable, but
I'll take it. I'll take
Not
it.
bad. Deebo Samuel.
I think that's a good pick. You weren't very enthused when we took him.
Yeah, I just don't know how his role is going to be this year with McCaffrey.
Well, I mean, McCaffrey was there last year, and he obviously took a step back, but Ayuk wasn't himself last year.
No.
Deebo wasn't himself. Kittle was hurt most of the year. So even with McCaffrey, Brock Purdy tends to spread the ball around well, and so does Kyle Shanahan. But you can't really. The best part about having a guy like McCaffrey is he can't take up every possession.
No.
Like, he has the ability to, but he can't.
No.
And the ability actually plays more in our favor than people think, because if I'm a defensive player, I may be shading up. Say I'm a safety, right? Well, I mean, Brock Purdy has the tools to scramble. He won't often, but he does. But if I know I can maybe take a step or two toward the line, away from the space, and then I get caught in no man's land, and Debo's got the speed, the blow-away speed to get
Like
around.
Tyreek.
I kind of like Tyreek's a different being, but Deebo is like he's strong. He can come off on jet sweeps. He can do kind of a little bit of everything too. It could play to our advantage.
It could. Our defense is the Eagles' defense, which I like that a lot.
99% owned. Come on. Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith. I mean, how did the Eagles end up with both of them in this draft? I still, my mind is blown because of that. But Jalen Carter is a man among boys. When he's out there on the line, I've said it once, I'll say it again. With defensive players, or I guess like with the top defenses in the NFL, all you need is one really solid player off the edge. Like, if you think about every defense in the NFL, what makes them successful? It's that one player. It's Aiden Hutchinson for the Detroit Lions, right?
Yeah.
It was Khalil Mack for the Bears for a long period of time.
Everson Griffin for the Vikings.
Yes, great pick. Now, I was going to add the 49ers have Bosa and, what's his name? It's escaping me right now. But it's not just Bosa there. J.J. Watt was that guy for a while. Like, one good player makes a defense, and that's going to be Jalen Carter for the Eagles.
Yeah.
So that's why this defense will be uber successful. They are, like, ranked in the 250s. All the way down the list from, like, out of all players. But, they're not even the first defense off the board.
No.
Really, there are some defenses ahead of them that shouldn't be ahead of the Eagles.
Browns.
Stay and wait on the Philadelphia Eagles this year.
We have Jason Sanders as our kicker from Miami.
Yeah.
It's a kicker.
I want Justin Tucker. I got to figure out who we need to trade for Justin Tucker. We need Justin Fields. We need Justin squared.
We have Miles Sanders. So our bench now is
Our
Miles.
bench is fire.
I think our bench has a lot of potential.
I feel like that's our team. A lot of potential.
Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins, Quentin Johnston, Aaron Rodgers, which has the same bye as Dak Prescott, but we're not going to talk about that. Sam Laporta.
Yeah, we ended up drafting way too many people with the same buys.
Tank Bigsby. You're big on him.
He was just our handcuff, too, for Travis Etienne. So I wanted to get Bigsby just in case something happens to Etienne.
Okay. And then Devon
Go ahead. Your guess is as good as mine.
Achani.
I don't remember.
yeah.
I don't remember how they
Achani?
pronounce his last name, but that backfield is.
Bless you.
What's that? Thank you. That backfield is so lost. I mean, they still have Mostert. They still have Jeff Wilson. Do you remember when those guys were both on the 49ers?
Yep.
And then now they drafted Devon. I'm just
A.
going to,
Devon A.
we're first name basis. Like, we're besties. We're first name basis. So they're one of those backfields that are kind of loose, which is why he went late. He could be the starter. He easily could be the starter.
They have a common
May not be
theme with
right
the
away, but he could be.
Eagles, but they have a lot of people that they could use.
Well, and J.K. Dobbins is one of my breakout players. You know, Dobbins, he's been handed a hard hand. Like, if we were playing poker, his first 2 seasons, he's folding both hands. He's given a 9 and a 2, right? And then his next hand is a 6 and a jack, and they're offsuit. Like, he's just always hurt. He's never had a chance to really recover, but he came back last year. He was RB1 for 5 games, including the playoffs, and he averaged 6.6 yards a carry. Now, he split a lot of time with Gus Edwards, and that ate into 50% of his production, and he didn't have a lot out of the backfield in regards to receptions, which, hopefully those are on display this year more than last year. But I think where he's going in drafts is about right. Because if you kind of look at average draft position for a lot of these guys, and you just do your basic research, like you see a guy like Cam Akers, for example. Cam Akers is roughly around 77 for his average pick.
Okay.
Like Cam Akers last year was the number 1 rusher in the league down the stretch of the season. Like, are we forgetting about that? Are we forgetting that Cam Akers was literally putting up numbers that look like this, 85 yards per game? Like, do you remember Cam Akers? Because we only remember the bad, right?
I only remember the bad. I don't.
You look at Cam Akers and you freeze up, right? Your behind hole puckers a little bit. Like when you're trying to like make that pick, you're like, do I draft him? Do I not? Like, no, he's going to be their go-to guy this year because Henderson is gone. So like that's a guy that you look at later on in the draft. But going back to J.K. Dobbins, I mean, he's just somebody that I think it's worth taking a flyer on because he could easily be a flex option for his team. Easily be the one. His ADP is 87.9 right now. That's before DeAndre Swift. And I think DeAndre Swift has everything in line to be a productive back this year in Philly. The way that he should have been used in Detroit, the way he was used at Georgia, it fits perfectly in Sirianni's system. So, you know, when I go about drafting this year, normally I'm like, hey, I need a back 1-2. I need to take running backs early because there's a plethora of wide receivers. But now I'm starting to be a little more strategic because of how and where some of these other running backs are and where you can find them. Like, I remember scrolling down for you today because you're like, man, should we take Nick Chubb? And I'm like, dude, let's take CeeDee because look who's available from 20 to 35. You're finding Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
You're finding Najee Harris. You're finding a lot of names that you wouldn't normally find.
I
right?
don't think ESPN, their rankings don't make sense. Like,
Most don't.
Like, I don't understand.
Most are just kind of thrown together off of last season's stats, which is why it's great for those that actually do a little bit of research because you know how to then draft this season. Like, you don't have to go old reliables route of running back first, then wide receiver or 2 RBs just to have them, and then suffer with, you know, let's just say Drake London as your wide receiver 1, right?
Yeah.
And not that he would be somebody that, you know, you'd be really suffering with, but like Tyler Lockett would probably fall into that mix. Like you want a wide receiver 1 with a good quarterback. We have 2 of them. And if you look at our backs too, we're pretty strong.
I don't think we're finishing 9th. I'm going to say that right now. We're not going to finish 9th.
Yes. Set the stage.
Here comes 8th place. Look out, guys.
Hey, the only way to go is up, right? Not true because there's 3 spots behind us. We could go down.
We didn't draft last, though.
What's that?
We didn't draft last.
No. No. But we had fun, right?
Exactly.
Hey, let's actually have some fun. Let's get into more of what we have planned today.
Okay. So my first segment is rookie, buy, or bust. So
I've done 3 dynasty drafts so far. Are you like giving me options
I'm
here?
going to give you 4 players and tell me if you draft them or not and why.
Okay,
So
I'm ready.
my first one is Anthony Richardson.
I will buy into Anthony Richardson. So I think it was a month and a half ago when I was on the show. I was on the radio show. I said Anthony Richardson would be Rookie of the Year. And he didn't even have the starting job locked up yet. I mean, this was...
Is this training camp?
Yeah, training camp. I mean, it was a month or 2 after the NFL draft. But I saw Bryce Young in person, and dude looks like an Oompa Loompa in Willy Wonka's factory. Like, I really think he's a solid football player, and he's got great IQ, but he's tiny. He's Kyler Murray tiny.
Ooh.
And so I am just not totally sold on him and Carolina's system. Not to say that Bryce can't be great because, I mean, his IQ should be able to carry him through most situations. But then I looked at C.J. Stroud, and I'm like, I don't really love what they're doing in Houston. Like, D'Amico Ryans is like a great head coach, but I'm not totally sold on Houston's team altogether. So I went with Anthony Richardson because I think the Colts have an easier path through their division. Like, Look at it up and down. What are the Colts in now? The AFC South? Like, does that make any sense? Aren't they in there? I get messed up through divisions all the time. Not that it matters. They're in the AFC South. So it's the Texans, the Colts, the Jags, and the Titans. The Titans are probably falling off a little bit, even though they got DeAndre Hopkins. They're probably toppling. Words are hard sometimes. Over. The Jags are the favorites to win the division right now, but the Colts have everything in front of them. Now, the Jonathan Taylor situation kind of puts things into a rut for that team, but I think that just gives Anthony Richardson every chance to excel through the first 4 games while he waits and comes back from the PUP list.
Yeah, even if he comes back.
I hope he does, because he was somebody that I took in the 3rd round of one of my drafts. I mean, insane value, but it could be detrimental, right, if he doesn't play. But for those that are still drafting, I would still take a chance on him in the 3rd or 4th round, because where running backs are going this year, with where you can get a Cam Akers, Kenneth Walker, we didn't even mention him yet, and J.K. Dobbins, even Alvin Kamara. He'll be suspended for 3 games. You can probably get Kamara in the 7th round, take Jamal Williams in the 9th or 10th round, and then now you have a guy that's really doing things early. You have Alvin Kamara that comes back, or you even have Jonathan Taylor that you just slot in. You can manage by taking him early and risking that play on something later on in the draft. Yeah. So I'm buying Anthony Richardson after that long story.
All right, Jackson Smith and Ngaba from the Seahawks.
And Jigba.
And Jigba, yeah, that's how you say it.
So Jackson Smith and Jigba is interesting. I'd probably sell on him. Now, I know that those that do dynasty, rookie drafts only, he's been going in the top 5 picks.
Yeah.
And that's just because of where he was taken, really, in the NFL draft. But I still don't think he's the best option for this year, because what I'm basing this whole point on is 1 season. Now, if you're in a rookie draft, take Jackson Smith and Jigba, because he's going to be somebody that you can slot in 2 years from now, and he'll probably be as productive as Tyler Lockett is productive
right now
in Seattle. But there's just too many bodies in front of him. DK Metcalf will steal from him. Tyler Lockett will continue to steal. I don't really want the 3rd option on somebody's team.
He's also out. We don't know he's going to come back to.
Yep, and he's dealing with an injury right now. So I am selling on Njigba.
All right.
Although I did party with Jackson Smith and Jigba in Kansas City after the draft, so that was hard for me to say. We were at the same nightclub.
That's pretty dope. Dalton
Kincaid,
yeah.
Kincaid is somebody that has great value at his ADP. I think he's in the 12th round. And normally you want to say no to rookie tight ends. That's normally
how it goes.
Yeah, normally what you want to say. But the reason I'm I could see it more than I could see Kyle Pitts in that dilemma, because that was a surefire, should have worked. And it just didn't. But Kincaid's in an interesting spot just solely based on his versatility. And he's expected to line up in the slot, which I think is even cooler for somebody at the tight end position because of his just sheer size and the way that he can get vertical quick. Yeah. So Josh Allen needs to find another guy in the passing game that isn't named Stephon Diggs. And I know they have Gabe Davis still, and Gabe Davis is somebody that, you just chuck the ball in the air and he'll probably catch it. He gets what? He's like the Mike Williams of the Chargers. 3 catches, 90 yards some games and a touchdown, or it's 3 catches for 18 yards.
Yeah, he's very consistent.
You need somebody more consistent, and Kincaid may not produce immediately, but throughout the season, I think has all the potential in the world to finish as Josh Allen's 2nd option on that team in the pass game.
And behind Dawson Knox, too.
And I don't think Dawson Knox is anything special.
No, he's not.
I really don't. He had every chance to prove it over the past year, even before that, and just hasn't. Kincaid offers something that most tight ends don't have. He's got that skill, that gene, the way his brain is wired. It's wide receiver-like. It's not tight end-like. I'm not saying he's Brock Bowers, who we'll see out of Georgia next year, but watching Kincaid at Utah this past season and the way Cam Rising was able to utilize him, the way that offense was able to throw through him, or flow through him, I should say, you're looking at a guy that could put up 200 yards in a game. And most tight ends can't do that. Travis Kelce can't do that. Dalton Kincaid at some point could put up 200 points in a game.
My last one is Zay Flowers from the Ravens.
I love Zay. Zay was a personality on draft night. When he got up there, he didn't even know who was in that division. And like you know how I had to look up the AFC South?
Yeah.
They're in the AFC North. And I think a question was asked to Zay. It's like, are you excited to play against the teams in the AFC North? And his response was, who's in the AFC North? He just didn't care, right? He just wanted to go to a team and play football. And I admire that trait. The other reason I like Zay Flowers is it's a wide open field to figure out who the number one option's going to be there.
Yeah, because you have Odell coming in, which, I mean, it's Odell.
And
it's not
he's
the same
dicey.
Odell.
He's been dicey. Rashad Bateman is coming back from injury. You have Devin Duvernay, who was productive, but, you know, he's not a guy that can be a number one option. Mark Andrews will still be a really good player for that team. Lamar Jackson's back. He needs a receiver, though. He needs one receiver to be his guy. Maybe it's Zay Flowers. Why would you take him in the first round if it weren't Zay Flowers?
Yeah.
So those are my picks. I'd buy on 3. I'd sell on 1.
Okay, that's fair. I was trying to find players that weren't like, I'm going to buy.
Yeah, well, and I mean, if I look across rookies, and I'm just doing this off the top of my head, like I would sell on Jonathan Mingo, who is on the Carolina Panthers. I would sell on Michael Mayer early, who went to the Vegas Raiders. I would probably buy Laporta because Iowa tight ends always find a way to just make it work in the NFL. If I look across, I'm just, like I said, off the top of my head, I'm thinking of all the wide receivers. Oh, Jordan Addison, I would buy. Oh, let's just remember what Justin Jefferson did when he came into the league. They're not the same player, right? Justin Jefferson, I believe, is bigger. He adapted to that offense so faster than any rookie. Like really, I mean, Jamar Chase did it too in Cincinnati, but he had Joe Burrow, and you know that connection was previously dealt.
Yeah,
right. It was something that was there for them. But what Justin Jefferson did was something special. And Jordan Addison comes right in to be the number 2. He's the guy that's emerging in camp, emerging on everybody's radar. If you type in online right now, like top fantasy rookies, dynasty rookies, and you hit news, one of the first few links will say Jordan Addison is the number 1 guy out of all rookies that's emerging before the season. And there's a reason for that. It's because he's automatically slotted in as the number 2 guy there. And Kirk Cousins spreads the football. Justin Jefferson's going to get the top defender. And there's some really good corners in the league right now. Jordan Addison can exploit who's ever on him. He's going to have a big year.
Yeah, there's some stuff from training camp that I saw. I was like, yep, he's going to have a good year.
Not too shabby.
What did you have up next?
Well, you know, something that I really wanted to just share with the group was how to handle bye weeks when you're drafting. Because a lot of times we see a number and we're like, okay, I'm not going to take X player because he's got the same bye week as my starter. And I don't think that's true a lot of the times. Like there's some truth to it if you overload. If you get 5 players from week 12 that have the same bye, it's like, well, know that you're going to have to draft drop somebody later on. But if you get 2, maybe 3, and your bye week is week 12, well, you have 11 weeks to decide if you're going to drop somebody. Or you just pick somebody up and you drop somebody different and you just sit everybody on a bye. So I don't really follow along too much with bye weeks, but I will say caution week 7. So as I was doing my homework, Carolina, Cincinnati, Dallas, Houston, the Jets, and Tennessee all have a bye week in week 7. What does week 7 in these teams all have in common? Wide receiver strong. Wide receiver heavy. You have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You have Garrett Wilson. Like you have some pretty strong wide receivers here that you're going to need to replace at some point. So if you look around the league, I'm not saying you look at, a bye week that has 2, like week 6 and week 14, Arizona, Washington, Green Bay, Pittsburgh. But make sure you get somebody later on in the draft at a week 10, maybe like Kansas City. Like take a flyer on Kadarius Toney. I know some people aren't huge on him, but he's a former first-round pick too, and he's shaky. Like, he's somebody that has similar skill sets to what Tyreek Hill had in Kansas City. Now, nobody is that guy, and I really get that. But Sky Moore didn't step up and be that guy last year.
No.
Rashid Rice, sure as heck, won't be that guy this year. So I'm going to rely and put my eggs in Tony's basket. Or I'm going to go into week 5 and take a chance on maybe a Quentin Johnston, who just got drafted to the Chargers, or a Mike Williams. Or I'm going to look at what's going on in week 9. You have Detroit, you have Jacksonville. Like, I think Calvin Ridley could be top 5 this year in fantasy production at the wide receiver spot.
He'll finally get a full season in the last 2 years.
What did he do when he played with Matt Ryan? Trevor Lawrence isn't Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan only threw the football, right? Like, that's what they did in Atlanta. There's eligibility for a run game now in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But Trevor Lawrence can air it out too, and Calvin Ridley is going to explode this season. So these are like guys that I'm just kind of keeping my eye on. And, if you want to get even deeper into thought, like, you could look at Indianapolis' team and look at Josh Downs, another rookie coming out of UNC, looking like the number 2 option for Anthony Richardson right now. I love Jahan Dotson, who plays in Washington. Now, he's been battling hammy injuries since he's come into the league. But every time it seemed like last year he caught a pass, it was a touchdown. I think he had 7 touchdowns last season. So you just kind of monitor those bye weeks and know that, okay, if I'm going to draft Garrett Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, know that I have some other weeks on this list where I can still get a solid player that may be overlooked by somebody else. Yes, I brought up Calvin Ridley and Mike Williams' names. Those are guys that are going to go, right? They're at least top 7 round picks, right?
Oh, yeah.
Calvin Ridley's probably in the 3rd or 4th round, but Williams is probably around the 7th round. But that's just kind of what I'm doing. I don't know how to feel on Marvin Mims yet, another rookie. Jerry Jeudy's out for a little while, but I'm not totally sold on Mims out of Oklahoma to be like an immediate impact with Russell Wilson. So just kind of feel those bye weeks out. Pay attention to them, but at the same time, just don't overload on the same number.
Okay. And then for my next one, I have Would You Rather. So I'm going to do this.
Oh, I love me some Would You Rather.
I'm going to give you 2 players, but I'm not going to say their name, just their stats, and if you would draft them or not.
Okay. Are you going to give me position or no?
I'll give you position.
Okay, and then is this a PPR league or no?
PPR league.
Okay.
It's just like our league.
Yep, sure.
So player 1 these are running backs. So last year they had 20 total touchdowns, 1,500 total rushing yards, 314 receiving yards. This is player 1.
Okay.
Player 2 had 12 total touchdowns, 1,600 rushing yards, and 400 receiving yards.
Do you have reception numbers or no?
I do not.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It makes it even more challenging for me to pick. So to run it back, 20 touchdowns, 1,500 yards, and 300-ish receiving yards, right?
Yes.
Versus 1,600 with 12.
Yes.
And 400 receiving yards. So if you had 400 receiving yards, you're probably averaging 3 or 4 more catches a game. 20 touchdowns, 12, 8 times 6, 48. So you add 48 extra points to that. But if I'm averaging 3 more catches a game over 15 weeks, that's 45
One of these players
points
was in
too.
college. These are their college stats.
Oh, these
They
are
just got
college stats.
There's no. One of them is in
stats.
the,
Okay.
One of these players just got drafted. The other one was in the league last year. I will give you that.
I mean, they're kind of the same at the end of the day. I mean, I'm just trying to think of production. So, do I want touchdowns and yards? All right, I'll go with the more touchdowns. I'll go with that.
So, Bijan Robinson.
I'll go with Bijan. Who was the other?
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, no, I want Josh Jacobs. I want Josh Jacobs. He was the leading rusher last year. So he only had how many yards?
He had roughly 1,600 rushing yards.
I mean, he led the league. That's crazy that 1,600 rushing yards led the league. Am I right when I say that? I'm pretty sure he led the league.
Probably not.
Stop it, Cam.
I mean,
Stop
let's
it.
do more math. Come on. I like
Carry
the
carry
face you
the
make.
2. Hold on.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, pretty good. All right, 2022 running back stats. That's how you do it. Yes, 1,600 yards led the league.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, because we're used to seeing 18, 19, even close to 2,000 with some of these guys. I think Nick Chubb could get close this year. If he has a fully healthy season, I think he could get pretty close to that. All right, so I took Bijan Robinson. All right, I'm okay with that. I like Bijan's. His ADP right now is so crazy high that I just don't know how I really feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it either.
And Josh Jacobs, you could probably steal in the late second, early third. So, look, Bijan's playing on a full contract, a full rookie contract. That's probably a better spot to be in than Josh Jacobs, who's on his 1 year, which I still can't believe the Raiders didn't lock up any of those first-round picks that the Bears gave them. So, okay, I like this game. Okay, let's do another.
All right, so player one, these are tight end. It's a tight end or a wide receiver.
Okay.
That's who these are. Had 12 touchdowns, 110 receptions, roughly 1,300 total yards.
Okay.
And then player two had 7 total touchdowns on 119 receptions with 1,700 total yards, roughly.
Okay, so give me the reception numbers one more time.
110 versus 119.
Okay, and then it was 7 touchdowns to 10 touchdowns?
12.
To 12. And then it was 1,700 yards to what?
1,300.
And give me the 1,700 yards.
So Tyreek Hill over
Give me Tyreek.
Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And those two guys you're going to find go back-to-back in most drafts. Like, you'll probably see Kelce go 5th, Tyreek 6th, Tyreek 5th, Kelce 6th. It all depends. Like, I love the speed. Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, just because you drafted a team that's supposed to finish second doesn't mean you can be a Richard head.
Hey, I'm just trying to help. Just trying to help. A little scratch paper never hurt anybody.
Cam is...
Yeah, write me a love note.
A jerk. K-A-M.
That's somebody else.
All right, give me another. We have one more or no?
One more, it's quarterbacks.
Ooh.
All
okay.
right. So player one
Pen
had,
ready.
Player one had 31 total touchdowns, roughly 4,200 total yards,
Kirk
and
Cousins.
14 total turnovers.
Okay.
Player two had 30 total touchdowns, 4,100 yards, and 17 total turnovers.
Well, so quarterback numbers are all solely based on yards. So I'll take option one with 4,200, 14, and 31.
All right, so you have Geno Smith over Trevor Lawrence.
That guy said Kirk Cousins. So the only reason I know Kirk Cousins has like 4,000 yards is because I dog on him all the time. So where did they rank among quarterbacks? I know Geno finished, I think his 17 touchdowns. Wait a second. How many touchdowns did Geno have? 31? Yeah.
31.
Yeah, I think those 31 touchdowns were third. Good for third in the league last year.
Yeah.
Watch out, Geno Smith. I'm cool with that.
I bagged him up on my team.
Him and Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow and Geno Smith. Those are my boys.
Geno Smith.
The
All right,
only
so I
time
took
I'll
Geno
ever say
Smith. I took Bijan Robinson and Tyreek Hill. Like, I can survive with that. I'm cool with that.
If you get that in your team, then you don't have people know how to draft.
Well,
Or
if
you're
I
really
got Tyreek and Bijan, yes, people did not do their homework, and also nobody auto drafted because those two would go to a team. Who are the players that you want to avoid this year?
I have Derrick Henry.
Why Derrick Henry?
The Titans O-line is ranked 32nd in PFF rankings.
How do you know? How do they know? The Bears have the worst O-line in football, and that's a fact. The Bears are horrible. That's my team.
But also, he's 29 this year.
He
just
is.
turned 29.
Can you
And
believe he's that old?
No. For how hard he runs.
You shouldn't have given me scratch paper. Now I'm just doodling.
We lost him. He's gone.
He's gone now. He also he averaged under 100 yards a game last year, and the first time in his career.
Scores a lot of touchdowns, though.
That is true. And then I also have DeAndre Swift.
Okay.
I think the running back room is just too deep in Philly because you have Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, Rashad Penny, all very, very good options.
Don't hate on Jalen Hurts either.
Exactly. Jalen Hurts is my next option. Like, he is a very versatile quarterback.
Oh, I found that out last year. The hard way.
Then I have Dalton Schultz.
Like that. Oh, because he's in Houston now.
He's in Houston
Watch
now.
out for Jake Ferguson, though, taking over for Dalton Schultz in Dallas. Dalton Schultz was one of the best plays almost every week in DFS because Dak Prescott likes to throw to his tight end. So let's take his counterpart in that regard. But I can vibe with the Dalton Schultz play.
Then I have any Cardinals wide receivers.
Yeah, any guy. Yeah, right.
Doesn't matter who it is.
Marquise Brown is
anybody
locked up.
on the
Rondale
Cardinals
Moore.
wide
I mean,
receiver.
we kind of
I'll
already went
include
through it
Ertz in that
early
too.
on. Ertz, well, if Ertz can stay on the field, yeah, let's just take James Conner, and that's all from that Arizona team.
I was going to say Jonathan Taylor, too.
Oh, recent ad. I don't know. I would have to expect that he's going to play for the Colts this year because as much as he wants to send a message to the rest of the league and say, hey, us running backs need to get paid better, even though like we're getting up there in age, which we all know longevity for running backs isn't high to begin with. He still needs to play in order to get another contract somewhere if he wants to keep playing. Plus, if we look at recent history, let's just take Melvin Gordon, for example. How does his career fare after he held out? Not great.
Yeah.
How did Ezekiel Elliott come back from Cozumel or Cancun or wherever he went? He gained 40 pounds and just completely went downhill for the Cowboys. Jonathan Taylor, if he's smart, will need to stay in the States for one and be in shape, but two, sit these 4 weeks, send a message in those 4 weeks to your team, and then play the final 12, play out of your mind, still get up there, like top 10 in running back numbers, maybe top 15 at the lowest.
Yeah.
And then just say, this is what I can offer. And if you guys aren't going to do it, I'll go somewhere else, and I'll take a pay cut to go somewhere else.
Like Dalvin Cook did.
So if you take Jonathan Taylor in like the third round, I still think there's value. If you get him in the fourth, that's insane value. Just make sure to get the backup, Deion Johnson, one of the two.
I believe.
I don't know. There's so many Johnsons, Jacksons in the league. I know his name's Deion. Again, we're on first name basis. Yeah, that's good. Cam, I want you to get involved here, though.
I'm here, man.
Like, let's.
Besides just talking smack to you about math.
Weren't we going to do something fun with the rookies?
Yeah, so I think Cam was going to give us 5 rookies,
Yeah.
but he's going to go down the line, and we have to each blindly rank them.
So we get one rookie that gets tossed our way, and good thing you gave me scratch
Yeah,
paper.
see?
You
Yeah.
need some scratch paper?
I got my computer.
Oh, well, so do I.
So yeah, I got 5 rookies picked out. I'll throw them at you randomly. You rank them 1 to 5.
Okay.
And then
then
do you
they
have
are
a
locked
list?
in.
Do you have a list of like where they're actually ranked?
I've got a few different lists.
Okay.
From different
I'm
sources.
sure like
you
they're
know.
pretty consistent.
They're all pretty hie up there.
okay.
So
all right,
okay.
I'm ready.
So all right, we'll start with number 1. We mentioned him a couple of times already, but I'll go with Jordan Addison. Where are you gonna put Jordan Addison?
first one?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I'm messing
Jordan
with you.
Addison's 2. I feel like Cam is going to put 2. He's going to go 2.
I'm gonna put Jordan Addison at 1
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
because the
I'm
last
swinging.
time I did a game like this, I got screwed, and UNC ended up being my top team.
Yes, you did.
So I'm not getting screwed.
just taking him
You know
right
what?
out the gym.
If Bijan ends up being 2, he ends up being 2. All right, give me another.
All right, next one. We will go with Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver for the Giants.
All right, he's my 5.
He's going to be my 4.
4. Okay.
I feel pretty confident Jalen Hyatt at 5.
Any reasoning behind that, either one of you?
Well, so Hyatt plays for the Giants. The
Yeah.
Giants have struggled with having a consistent wide receiving option. Darren Waller's there now, looking like he's going to be the target of Daniel Jones. I don't know how much I trust Hyatt early on. Plus, if you could probably pick him up in most leagues.
You
He's not
probably
somebody that
could.
gets drafted. So I'm going to put him at 5 for that reason.
Okay.
Yeah, they're probably going to give Saquon the ball more, too, because they like to do that a lot until he gets hurt. But
I feel okay right now. See, this is like today's draft. Like, I was
This is
really good
good.
in the first 2 picks,
Yeah.
and then it just went to ish.
All right, let's try this one. Try this hat on, boys. Jamar Gibbs.
Jameer Gibbs?
Jameer.
I feel
Gibbs,
confident
running
putting
back
him
Detroit.
at 2. I'm cool with Addison at 1 still.
he's the running back for the Lions.
Running back for
Running
the
back for the
Lions.
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 Still has to deal with David Montgomery this year. I'm cool with him at 2. You could put him at 1, though. That would still be solid.
3.
3? What are we doing?
You're a
How
wild man.
insulting.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Until Bijan comes on the board, and then you beat me. Then you
All
beat
right,
me.
Yeah.
Don't throw.
Well, how about C.J. Stroud? Let's
Thank
do C.J.
goodness.
Stroud.
I thought you were
5.
about to say Bijan.
5.
I feel good with him at 4. Okay, give me a solid 3 here.
Here's your one. Bijan Robinson.
Yes.
You told me not to. I was trying to stack it.
Did you change?
No.
Like,
I have
who
my
was
5.
who was the real 5th name?
Those were all 5 of them that I picked
No,
out.
I'm not convinced.
All right. Well, let me. What's his name? What's the guy's name?
Yeah. See,
Well, you can't change it because I won. You can't change it because I won.
Hey, what if Bijan ends up being the 3rd best?
Do you want me to?
People are going to be in some deep holes.
All right,
there, Brando.
Honorable mention, 6th place, Bryce Young. Where are you going to put
Oh,
him?
well, that would have
right?
been an easy 3.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so we'll go with what was actually stated, and I'll put Robinson at 3. If somebody saw this list and they saw me put Addison at 1 and Bijan at 3, how did
you're
you
insane.
How did you save the 1? How did that work out for you? All right,
I believe
so
in
have,
Cam.
I have Jordan Addison,
He has
Jahmyr
faith.
Gibbs. I put Jahmyr Gibbs above Bijan. Bijan at 3, CJ at 4, Hyatt at 5. See, this was just like the draft today.
Yeah.
I started out strong, right? Found a great pick. All right,
You're your
well, there
own
you go.
worst enemy.
The
Your
people
own
out
worst
here
enemy.
know I'm high on Jordan Addison, and there's a reason for it. He's my 1. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Okay. He's your 1. And on that note,
We
episode
celebrate.
1, season 2.
We take a shot of tequila so this goes over well.
It makes everything feel better, for
Right?
sure, yeah.
At least it makes the tummy feel warm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Warm and fuzzy. Just like my fantasy teams. Sorry, that wasn't a tear, it's allergies.
Well, I thought this went good for my first time doing a podcast.
Yeah, this is so. Let's give Brandon a round
Yeah,
of
buddy.
applause.
Yeah,
right?
buddy.
First time hosting a podcast. He'll be
You should
hosting
see the
this.
crowd. It's so busy in here right now. It's
Well,
insane.
they're all
You can
doing
pack 'em
fantasy
in.
drafts right now. That's why they're so
Yeah,
quiet.
he packs them in
Exactly.
here.
No, so Brandon's going to be hosting the show all 17 weeks. Is it 18 weeks, I think, now? Maybe it's 19. Who knows anymore
We'll see what
with the
happens at
NFL
this point.
season, right? But, yeah, no, I'm excited for you, and just a great opportunity to, come have some fun, enjoy the show once a week. We'll give you our fantasy plays. We're going to focus on being a little bit different than all the rest. So I
not gonna
think
give you a list
I
every
think there's
week.
some enticing things that will draw our listeners into the show.
I agree.
I think it's our stashes and Cam's hair on his head.
On my face. Lack thereof up top.
Oh.
Yeah. I grew too tall for my hair.
I'm
so-
still mad at you for putting Bijan last.
Hey, can't win them all, big guy. That's coming from number 2 over here. Big number 2. I'm throwing it down.
Asshole.
Fred Durst's magic 8 ball is
Also,
gonna take
guys,
it.
Cam has never played fantasy football.
Yeah.
He has never played
And
fantasy
it
football.
will prove
It's a bunch of
to be
firsts.
true by season's end.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
you keep talking
I
over
will
there.
fall very fast.
Keep talking.
I am an idiot. But I'm the everyman. So I'm here for everybody. I'm here for you
Well, you're
guys.
here to make this work. That's for darn sure.
You are the producer. So.
Yeah. I'm just here to get kicked around. Keep beating me up, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys. Talk to you guys next week. Yep.
That's how we're ending every show. Yep.